This is the most unmanageable material in the Forged in Fire competition. The ice-encased high-carbon steel ball. Just one single piece of this stuff is enough to push the contestants to the brink of despair. Even if they manage to forge it into a blade by some miracle, the weapon could shatter at the first strike. It never fails to deliver a shocking surprise to the judges. Yet as a premium grade of high-carbon steel, with the right set of skills and techniques, it will surely yield a top-tier, master-quality blade. However, what the production team has prepared this time is a frozen steel ball version, upping the difficulty level yet another notch. The rules mandate that the contestants, within a 3-hour time limit, must first forge a tool out of mild steel on their own to break through the solid ice and retrieve the steel ball. After that, they need to forge the steel ball into an Arctic ulu knife. This traditional blade was used by the Inuit people of the Arctic as a versatile tool for peeling hides, breaking ice, sawing through bones, and trimming meat. The specifications require that the crescent-shaped blade be 7 to 8 inches in length, with the tang of the knife one piece and fully enclosed. The 3-hour forging timer starts now. Devin heats up the mild steel and immediately begins power pressing it. He quickly finishes forging his ice-breaking tool and, leveraging his sheer brute strength, extracts the steel ball at lightning speed, then tosses it into the forge to heat up. Andrew, on the other hand, hammers out an ice pick. With such a sharp tool, he retrieves the steel ball with effortless ease. But since the steel ball has just been taken out of the ice, it's not suitable for direct heating right away. Plunging low-temperature steel directly into a high-heat forge could damage the internal structure of the steel billet, causing cracks or even hollow cavities to form. Of course, not everyone's process goes this smoothly. Clay hammers out a small axe blade. It looks functional enough, but when it comes to breaking ice, it works as slowly as scraping skin. Retrieving the steel ball alone already eats up half an hour of his time. By this point, Devin is already using the power press to start shaping the steel billet, but it seems the interior of the steel ball hasn't been fully heated through, rendering the power press completely ineffective. He pauses to think for a moment, then decides to split the steel ball in two to speed up the heating process. As for Andre, once his steel reaches the optimal temperature, the forging and pressing process goes off without a hitch. He cuts the steel piece into 2 halves and only uses 1 half to forge his weapon. For a small-sized blade like this, there really isn't a need for that much steel anyway. Now all he needs to do is shape it into the final form. Chad, who is already drained of all his physical strength, also moves on to the pressing and shaping stage. With the help of the power press and power hammer, the process is relatively manageable, but the handle of this specific design requires meticulous hand hammering to refine. Already running on empty, he soon turns pale and starts gasping for breath, on the verge of passing out, so much so that the safety officer is called over to check on him. Clay proves to be much more resourceful. He only presses and stretches half of the steel billet. This approach not only allows him to hammer out the shape more quickly, but also saves him a great deal of energy. At the same time, he stretches out the edges, hammering them into thin strips. By then stretching and bending these strips to connect with the other end, he can form the tang of the knife. The only issue is that the joint looks a bit too rough and unpolished. Devin has his own unique approach to forging this oddly shaped tang. After hammering out the rough blade blank, he uses an angle grinder to cut out the center section of the steel. To save time, he chooses to cut off the tang along with the center part, planning to weld it back on later. On the other side of the workshop, Andrew adopts the same method, but his cutting skills are far more precise. He only cuts out the exact center portion he needs, with just 10 minutes left on the clock. All 4 contestants proceed to quench their blades one after another. So, what kind of final products have they managed to create? First up is Clay's ulu knife. Other than the fact that the tang is too thin, there aren't any major flaws. Doug comments that the knife's grip has a noticeable leftward bias, and it needs to be adjusted as soon as possible. Devin's knife boasts an extremely high level of finish. It's practically ready for testing, needing nothing more than a handle to be attached. Andrew's ulu knife has a sleek, eye-catching design, but one has to wonder, are those cracks on both sides meant to be purely decorative? Chad's knife, meanwhile, has a unique handbag-like shape, and its handle design is truly one of a kind. In the end, Chad becomes the first contestant to be eliminated. He can now take his handbag and head home. The remaining 3 contestants move on to compete in the second round.